Oh, hey, glad you made it. We're here in the Moshannon State Forest on Rattlesnake Mountain. Let's take a little look around. Come on along. In the early 20th century, Pennsylvania, like many other states, maintained a network of fire towers in the forests. In Pennsylvania, a total of 449 towers saw service through the years. Manned by observers during the spring and fall wildfire seasons, these towers provided a vital early warning link for the control of wildland blazes. One of these towers was located here on top of Rattlesnake Mountain in Moshannon State Forest. The original tower was built in 1928 by the Aeromotor Windmill Company. That structure was replaced in 2018 by the current 80-foot tower, which is still manned during peak times of fire danger. But it also provides a camera view of this forest for other times. Many of the state's fire towers were disassembled and some removed during the 1970s and 80s. Their mission replaced by observation aircraft. In 2016, it was determined by the powers that be that using aircraft was not a cost-effective way to monitor for wildfires, and the state allocated $4.6 million to bring some of the fire towers back online. At the time this tower was built in 2018, the state still owned about 50 fire towers, and 20 of those were manned when conditions dictated. That number was expected to increase as construction and replacement of towers continued. This was the observer's cabin, which was built for the use of the seasonal fire tower observers. In the early days, these fellas and ladies spent the majority of the fire season here at the tower site. Some of the decommissioned towers were repurposed to allow visitor access for panoramic views, like at Mount Davis, and others that are still in use are strictly off limits. The peak of Pennsylvania's wildfire season is generally March to early May, before the forest greens up and the sun can penetrate to the forest floor and dry out last year's leaf litter. Humans, of course, are the primary cause of the state's forest fires, and the leading culprit there is burning garbage and yard waste. But like Smokey says,
only you can prevent forest fires.
Hey, if you haven't already, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and if you'd like to support the channel, put a link to our Buy Me a Coffee page in the description down below. I mean, after all, we all know the world runs on coffee. One of the more popular attractions in this part of the Moshannon State Forest is Black Moshannon State Park. This 3,394-acre park is a popular recreation area with a swimming beach, canoeing, kayaking, and boating limited to electric trolling motors. The 240-acre lake is surrounded by bogs that create a unique habitat featuring plants and animals not found in other parts of the state, like carnivorous plants and even orchids. The bogs are also the reason for the word black in the park's name. As water from the streams that feed the lake flow through the bogs and the sphagnum peat moss, the water picks up the tannins from the peat, giving the lake its distinctive tea color. Like a lot of Pennsylvania's state parks, Black Moshannon was a project of the Civilian Conservation Corps in the 1930s. Many of the CCC structures are still in use in the park today. If you want to spend a night or three here at the park, the campground has 73 sites, many with electric and some with full hookups. For the tenters, there are wash houses and showers. There are also 2 deluxe cottages, 7 modern cabins, and 12 rustic cabins for rent. One thing that's not unusual to find in the state forest is a family cemetery. I did walk through earlier, and left a quarter for Daniel. I have no idea. Anything I can make out is a first name. If anybody can see anything more readable on there, let us know in the comments below if you've been able to make anything more out. But Daniel was a Civil War veteran, Grand Army of the Republic flag holder. This one's a little more readable. Mary A., wife of W.W. Fike, died March 27, 1900, aged 50 years. And the third stone that's still visible here is completely unreadable. Again, it's not unusual to find these. We're right here along State Route 504, just inside the Moshannon State Forest. I'm going to go out on a limb here that just about all of us have seen a TV weather forecast. If you haven't, go ahead and raise your hand. Okay, good. While you were watching, you probably saw the TV meteorologist in front of a weather radar map. The source for many of those maps is the National Weather Service's NextRad Doppler radar system. One station in that network is here on Rattlesnake Mountain. KCCX is the radar of the State College NWS office and is located here in the Moshannon State Forest, just off of Benner Run Road at an elevation of 2,486 feet. It services most of the central part of the state of Pennsylvania. The road we've been on, State Route 504, or the Rattlesnake Pike, is also where the old Philadelphia Erie Turnpike used to travel. Still along the route, you'll find these stone mile markers from the day. A little over a month ago, we spent an afternoon on Ice Mountain up above Tyrone, looking for the Tyrone Vortex site. If you saw that video, you know we didn't find much more than a power box at the site's clearing. But since we were in the neighborhood here, I thought we'd stop at the Phillipsburg Vortex here on Rattlesnake Mountain, just so we could get a look at an active vortex site. Well, thanks for coming along today. Hope you've enjoyed wandering around this portion of the Moshannon State Forest. It's another great place to get out and get in touch with Pennsylvania's great outdoors. Until the next time, as always, have a great week.